Down go the Bearcats. The West Virginia Mountaineers get their first Big 12 win of the season and their biggest win, in my opinion, of the season so far by knocking off Cincinnati 62-60. Boy, did they almost gave it away at the end with that turnover there late to give Jizzle James that long three-pointer that he luckily missed. But the Mountaineers close a game out. They actually allowed Cincinnati to come back, but they were able to make a little small comeback of their own after going down, I think, by 5 there late with just a couple minutes left. Huge three-pointer. How about Trayson Eaglestaff? For all the grief we've been giving him, for all the struggles he's had this year, he steps up and makes the biggest shot of the night, draining that three as the shot clock expired to put him up 58-57, and they didn't look back after that. So hats off to you, young man. Trayson Eaglestaff, absolutely wonderful shot. Glad to see. I really hope that that's what sparks him going forward for the rest of the year, because they really, really desperately need Trayson Eaglestaff. Before we get any further, I want to this is one of those games that deserves the coonskin cap, because this basketball team has had some struggles in some games this year against high major schools. Obviously got blown out against Iowa State the last time out, and tonight they pulled off a win. Now, look, Cincinnati's not a world beater team this year, but it's a Big 12 win. It's Ross Hodge's first Big 12 win, and I think it's something that they can build on. So I'm putting on the coonskin cap, by gosh, tonight, okay? They earned it. Anyway, they hold off Cincinnati. Maybe this is the game that sparks Trayson Eaglestaff down the stretch. You know, they basically, outside that one big shot he hit late, three-pointer he hit late, they pretty much shut Honor Huff down in the second half. And I was thinking, man, it would be really nice. I would love to see Trayson Eaglestaff break out and just take over this basketball game. And he didn't do that, but he did make a huge shot that was really I don't want to say it was the dagger, but it was the one that put West Virginia ahead and really, I guess you could say, put the – I guess you could call it the dagger. I don't know, but anyway, it was a huge shot. I don't know. You can call it what you want. It was a big shot by Trayson Eaglestaff. Hats off to him. Really, really glad to see him. And again, hopefully he can build on that, and maybe he builds some confidence, and we see more of that from him going forward. Honor Huff, what more can you say? 6 of 10 shooting from behind the arc, 24 points, 2 big free throws down at the end of the game. All that huge three that he made there that I mentioned earlier. Hats off to him for that as well. And a chance more, 14 points tonight. The guy just his ability to drive the ball to the rim is really elite, in my opinion. Man, if he can start making outside shots on a consistent basis, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit for Chance Moore. But at least he gives you somebody that can score the ball in the paint, drive it to the rim, and they have to honor that. They can't let him have it. They have to honor it, which helps free some guys up on the outside. DJ Thomas made a couple nice shots tonight. Hats off to him. I thought he played better tonight than he did in the previous game. Still a lot of growing pains for him and Amir Jenkins as freshmen, but they're learning. They're getting better, and things look good. Now, let's go ahead and take it. We're going to look at the stats here. When you look at the side, as we talk about the side-by-side box score here for both teams, field goal percentage, West Virginia had the edge there, 46-35. They were 48% from three compared to 34% from Cincinnati. Cincinnati's not a good three-point shooting team. West Virginia typically isn't either, but tonight, thanks to Honor Huff, they were. Free throw percentage, West Virginia only 54%. That's not good enough. Thankfully, Cincinnati was worse. They only shot at 44% from free throw line. But they only shot it 9 times. They were 4 of 9 from the free throw line. West Virginia was 7 of 13. Not a ton of fouls in this game. It was actually a better, more entertaining game to watch. There was some flow to it, some back and forth. We weren't getting whistles every 30 seconds. Points off turnovers. Only 8 points off turnovers for West Virginia. 18 for Cincinnati, because West Virginia turned the ball over 15 times. Again, you can't have that. Way too many turnovers. I'm sure Ross Hodge is not going to be happy about that. And they were only able to force 8 Cincinnati turnovers. They're lucky that didn't bite them in the rear end. Too many walks. Too many just careless plays at times. which is something this team does have a tendency to do. They go through stretches in games where they just do boneheaded stuff, and they did it again tonight. They've got to clean that up as the competition is going to get tougher. They have Kansas coming up, and they also have Arizona coming up. Total rebounds. West Virginia actually out-rebounds Cincinnati 37-33, but Cincinnati beats them on the offensive glass by a margin of 10-6. West Virginia did get 31 defensive rebounds to Cincinnati's 23. Second chance points, Cincinnati turned those 10 offensive rebounds into 10 second chance points. West Virginia only had 4 second chance points. 28-26 bench points in favor of Cincinnati. Points in the paint, 18-18. Fast break points, 16-4 in favor of Cincinnati. Blocks, 2-1 in favor of Cincinnati. Steals, 7-6 in favor of Cincinnati. Assists, 19-9 in favor of Cincinnati. Once again, West Virginia just not passing the ball enough and not well enough, in my opinion. The difference in this basketball game was just West Virginia making shots when they needed to make plays and make shots at the end of the game. The hustle plays at the end there where they were able to dive on the floor, get that loose ball, get the timeout, keep the possession. Those types of plays, in my opinion, is what won this basketball game. They made shots when they needed to make shots in clutch moments, and the hustle plays. That was the difference to me. And again, they did out-rebound Cincinnati overall. Didn't do a great job keeping Cincinnati, or at least in the first half, they didn't do a good job keeping Cincinnati off the offensive glass. But in the second half, they came out and cleaned all that up. They cleaned up the rebounding in the second half, as far as keeping Cincinnati off the offensive glass. But they did get outscored by 1 in the second half, 32-31, ironically. So just a weird basketball game. When you look at the statistics, you would think that, well, you'd have thought it was a close game, which it was, but man, either team could have won this game. Cincinnati had the edge in, second chance points, in fast break points, and points in the paint was even. It all comes down to the fact that West Virginia made shots in key moments, and Cincinnati missed key free throws and made some bad decisions at the end of the game. I thought, since Cincinnati, some blunders down the stretch, I would give that a coaching edge to Ross Hodge there. I thought Ross Hodge outcoached Wes Miller down the stretch of that basketball game, and I thought his guys executed down the stretch better. That's what it comes down to. Statistically, they didn't really outplay Cincinnati that much. It just came down to making plays when you have to make plays, and sometimes that's what it takes. But hats off to this team. Very good game. Individual performances. Brennan Lorian had a rough night, only 2 points for him, coming back off his concussion. I mentioned Huff. Not only did Honor Huff have 24 points, Honor Huff led the team in rebounds with 8. As a matter of fact, he had more rebounds than anybody in the game. Arguably the smallest guy, maybe the smallest guy on the floor, had 8 rebounds tonight. Honor Huff, thank you for your hustle, young man. Thank you for playing hard, and thank you for the performance you put out there tonight. Absolutely. 24 points, 8 rebounds, 7 of 14 shooting, 6 of 10 from the floor, 4 of 6 from the free throw line, just an assist. Great performance tonight from Honor Huff. Chance Moore with the 14 points also had 4 rebounds. Jasper Floyd had no points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Rough night for him at the office as well, but he did do some good things on the defensive end. So it wasn't I wouldn't say it was a disappointing night for Jasper overall, but offensively it was. Amir Jenkins had 5 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists. West Virginia needs to get better play, in my opinion, out of the point guard position going forward. Both Jenkins and Floyd need to step up and play a little better. And I tell you what, Jenkins played 20 minutes in this game compared to Floyd's 26. Floyd's not careful. Jenkins is going to take his minutes. He's getting a lot more minutes down the stretch because he gives him another weapon, another guy who can take the ball to the rim. Amir Jenkins' body control, when you watch him take the ball to the rim, is really, really good. I love to watch him play. Floyd's a little better on the defensive end right now. That's probably why he's still getting more minutes. But I'll tell you, if Amir Jenkins starts to tighten up his D, he might actually get more minutes as they progress through the season. See, Jackson Fields did not only play 2 minutes in this game. I don't know what's up with him. I don't know if he was hurt. I don't know if he was sick. I don't know if you guys know anything. Maybe you can drop it in the chat why he didn't play more minutes. But I'll tell you, I was really worried about the inside game tonight. I thought Harlan Obioha, no points, 6 rebounds tonight. And then you have DJ Thomas had 7 points, only 1 rebound. I mean, West Virginia has to get better play from their point guard spot, and they also have even more so from their bigs. That's why I was surprised we didn't see Jackson Fields more in this game. I didn't think West Virginia got a great performance out of their bigs tonight. Now, didn't really have to have it necessarily, but it would have definitely helped. But, they played hard. This team always plays hard. I've never had to question their effort, their heart, their hustle, their want to win. It's just they've not executed well at times, and there have been nights, not tonight necessarily, but there have been some games, Iowa State, for example, where I just felt like the other team was more talented. Tonight, that wasn't the case. And there's going to be a few more games going forward where the other team may be more talented. West Virginia's going to have to win games with very small margins. They're going to have to win the turnover battle. They're going to have to, win the rebounding battle, and they're going to have to basically out-hustle and want it more than the other team. That's how they're going to win basketball games in this conference. It's going to be a tough road to hoe. Do I feel any better about this team after winning this game tonight? No, I don't. I'm still sticking to my prediction of 4 to 5 conference wins. This was one of the ones I had penciled in. You have to win games like this at home. Cincinnati's likely going to be one of the teams in the bottom half of this conference. When you get teams like that at home, you have to win those games. They did that tonight. So hats off to West Virginia for pulling out the victory. As far as Cincinnati players' individual performances, you had Dede Thomas with 9 points. They only had one player in double digits, and that was Celestine with 15 points. And all of his came from behind the arc. He was 5 of 9 from 3, also had 5 rebounds. Sincere Harris, the former Mountaineer, how did he do tonight? He had 7 points, 6 rebounds. He also, let me see how many steals he had tonight. He had 1 steal, only 1 steal, 1 assist, 6 rebounds, and 7 points. So Sincere Harris had a decent night tonight, but, nothing special. Kerr Kriisa, another former Mountaineer, also on that Cincinnati team, and he was out tonight with an injury. But anyway, West Virginia gets the win. Big win. We'll take it. Cincinnati was 8-6 coming into the game. The record didn't blow you away. They were 0-1 in Big 12 play, but they did take Houston down to the wire, as the announcers talked about. And so they do. Cincinnati has some talent on that basketball team. Dede Thomas is a good player. We know Sincere Harris is a good player. We know Jizzle James is a good player. Cincinnati is going to win some basketball games in this conference. So I do not want to diminish this win. I think Cincinnati's a little better than the record shows, but they had been struggling lately, and West Virginia was able to, just play better down the stretch and hold off Cincy after they got that late lead. So hats off to them for doing that. I'm not going to, you got to take them. When you win games in the Big 12, you have to take them. They're all good wins. All right, let's go ahead and jump over here to the chat, see what you all have to say, and then we're going to talk a little football tonight. Lifted Diesel's in the house. He says, what a shit show that was. They won, but by luck, everybody will still be wanting Ross Hodge fired tomorrow, LOL. Yeah, I don't want Ross Hodge fired tomorrow. I think that's crazy talk. He's recruiting well. I think he has a roster that is lacking in some areas, and he's doing the best he can with it. And let's be honest, Ross Hodge is probably also having to learn on the job a little bit. This is his first, high major job, and he's going to have to learn the ropes a little bit, learn the speed, learn all that stuff. But I think we'll be okay. Just this year might be there's going to be a lot of bumps in the road this year. But look, they're sitting at 10 wins, have a lot of opportunities in front of them. If they can, they're going to continue to get better and better and better. Can they get better more at a faster rate than the teams are playing? That's going to be the question. And who knows? Maybe they get hot late in the season and start playing good basketball late. We'll see. I'm telling you, with Chance Moore coming on and scoring the way he's scoring, if Trace and Eaglestaff can start scoring on a more consistent basis, it would improve this team so much and give them so many more chances to win games. WVU fan 13 in the house. He says, okay, why does watching every WVU basketball game or football game give me high blood pressure issues? Buddy, you ain't the only one. Doopy says we have a bunch of talent that is clueless on the court because they do not have a head coach. I disagree with that. Trey Edwards says, golly, we should have lost that game. Raven Grady, man, they were up big time and managed to give up the lead. Yep, they did. They did give up another lead. And I failed to mention that. It's not all sunshine and rainbows here. They gave up another big lead. They got to stop doing that. When you get leads in the Big 12, you've got to hold them. Got to hold them. Doopy says Eagle staff is still garbage. He got lucky. I'm not going to call anybody garbage. He's not missing shots on purpose. He's struggling, yes, but he's, garbage to me is going a little bit too far with it. Michael Olenek says your boys need to practice on free throw making. Very lucky. Yeah, man. 54% is not going to cut it for sure. I agree. Tosh Miller in the house says didn't feel like a win, was ugly. Since he might be the worst team we play rest of the year, but I'll take it. Yeah, I almost didn't put the coonskin cap on because I was like, you know what? It was an ugly win. They didn't play that well until the end, and even then they made some boneheaded plays. But it's first Big 12 win, so I'm throwing the hat on. John Kelly says, but sure was a heck of a shot from Eagle staff. Absolutely. Stanley Mesh Jr. says, new coach and players yet, still the cardiac kids. Tried to give the win away after all, but wrapping it up. But, hey, a win's a win. We've also got America First West Virginia in the house. Says, good win, but offense still struggling. Absolutely. Seem to get complacent running offense, and they only seem to look at one or two players. I agree with that. It's been maddening all season. Too much standing around, too much dribbling, pass the basketball, and move more. The standing still with your feet in concrete's got to stop. Ball movement stops, spacing gets tight. Yep, I've been harping on it all year. It's driving me insane. Lift the Diesel again says Eagle staff shot definitely put the foot on the throat towards the end. I'm way behind here in the chat. Let me see. Cheers Beers Mountaineer says everyone liked the video for Couz. Yes, please do that. Hit that like button for me. It's free, even if you're watching this on the replay. We have Seymour in the house. We have Tundra in the house. Harlan needs to lower his shoulder and bump them back when he gets the ball that low in the paint. At 7'260", he should have dominated Cincinnati's larger bigs. Agree. I don't know why he tries to finesse stuff. You're 260 pounds guy. Stop trying to finesse things. Use your feet. Use your strength. Use your power. I totally agree with that statement. Larry Jones in the house. Lizel Barnes. Curtis D316. Thanks for jumping in, brother. Silva Mark, West Virginia in the house. Browns and Beers. Thanks, brother, for hopping in. He's another VIP member. He says, win's a win, especially in this conference. But Cincy also lost to Eastern Michigan at home. I think last Saturday against Houston for Cincy was more so a bad game out of Houston. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. You're bringing me down to earth. But you're right. You're right. This team has a lot to clean up. They're not going to win a lot of Big 12 basketball games. It just is what it is. So I'm going to celebrate the ones we do win. Jacob Yoho in the house. Matt Dix in the house. Obioha and Floyd are a problem. And I was high on Jasper Floyd coming in. I really thought he was going to be a good player for us, but just has to be honest, I think he's been a little disappointing. Lifted Diesel. Oh, I don't want him fired either. Let me clarify. Yeah, I didn't take it that way, brother. Sure didn't, but there will be a lot of fans who say they will. Trust me. You're right on that. All right, let's go ahead and I'll tell you what. I'm going to keep the coonskin cap on because today was a great day for Mountaineer fans on the football side. West Virginia lands the top running back in the – not necessarily the top rated running back in the portal per se, but the top running back as far as yards statistically in the country in Cam Cook. Elite running back from Jacksonville State, Cam Cook. From the article over at WV Sports Chat over at our site. By the way, we've been doing a ton of work over there. Go check it out. It says West Virginia has landed a commitment from the NCAA's leading rusher and an All-American running back from the 2025 campaign, Cam Cook. The 5'11", 200-pound junior played for Jacksonville State last season. The news broke Tuesday evening via a post from veteran WVU beat writer Mike Kazaza on X, who cited reliable sources indicating the Mountaineers are expecting to secure a commitment from the elusive star back. And, of course, they later did confirm through Hayes Fawcett of On 3. The running back position has been a point of concern following the departures of key contributors, Jaheim White, Dior Hubbard, and Sincere Bowers to the portal. Filling that void with the nation's top rusher would signal WVU's intent to rebound quickly in the competitive Big 12. Cook led the FBS in rushing in 2025, 1,659 yards on 295 carries, an average of 5.6 yards per tote, and 16 rushing touchdowns. He also added 286 yards on 30 receptions, 9.5 yards per catch, and was named Conference USA Player of the Year. He was a third-team All-American by the AP. Associated Press named him a third-team All-American. Leading rusher in the country. This young man can flat out run. Now, he did spend time at TCU, and I have seen some of the more, I'll say, pessimistic fans on social media saying, well, yeah, but he didn't do very good at a Power 4 school. But you got to realize he was a younger back at the time, and maybe he wasn't a huge fit for the system. You know, we don't know all the details there. But he went to Jacksonville State, and he blossomed. And what I like about Cam Cook, if you've any of you who have watched his film, watched his tape, will know this, or even watched his games this year. Got Browns and Beers in the house. What's up, brother? Keep the hat cap on, Couz. Thank you for the $2 donation. Yeah, man, I plan on it. If it don't itch my head too bad. This thing does itch pretty bad, and, you know, with the bald chrome dome I have, nothing in between there to stop it. But I do appreciate the super chat for sure. But Cam Cook, when you watch him play, here's what sticks out to me. Obviously, he's got good. He don't have elite speed, but he has good speed, good enough speed. At 5'11", 200 pounds, he's not super small, right? He's got decent size. He's hard to bring down, and he is stronger than he looks. He doesn't look like it. He's not necessarily a huge, big, quote unquote, big back, but he can break tackles. He can run through tackles. He averaged 3.45 yards per carry after contact. So he was, I think, top 50 in the country in yards after contact with players with at least, I think it was at least 60 carries, maybe something like that. So he did have, or no, it wasn't 60. Anyway, you get my point. He did really good. He was in the top third of the country or so in yards after contact. So he did really good in that category. So he's elusive. Yes, he can make people miss in space, but he's also hard to bring down. He can break tackles. He has really good vision. He's great at reading his blocks, getting behind his blocks, getting behind his pads. He can make one step and boom, he hits the hole quick. I really like this pickup for the Mountaineers. We also have to remember, I know he wasn't the running backs coach at Jacksonville State, but Rick Trickett was the O-line coach last year at Jack State. So he had his lineman blocking for Cam Cook. I do think there's some advantages there. He's going to understand the blocking scheme. He's going to understand where the linemen are, where they're going to be, what their responsibilities are, and he's going to speak that language, at least the language that Coach Trickett speaks to his linemen, which, you need your running back and your lineman to all be on the same page, right? And I think that's an advantage. We can't forget that. I know he wasn't the running backs coach, but still, they're going to speak the same language. Let's not forget that. So this is a huge, huge pickup for the Mountaineers in the portal. Cam Cook, number one running back in the country. I don't think he can be, Jonathan mentioned an article, losing Jaheim White, losing Dior Hubbard, losing Sincere Bowers. We're like, man, who's going to carry the football? Cam Cook, that's who's going to carry the football. They also went out and, they signed Martavius Boswell, a talented JUCO player. They brought in Sir Paul Cheeks, brought in some really talented young guys from the high school ranks that can also help in that backfield. So I like this pickup. Oh, and we can't forget Amari Latimer, the 4-star kid who they flipped from Wisconsin. Can't forget him. I think he could with him. Now look, all these guys have to compete for the job. Cam Cook's not going to come in and be handed the number one running back spot. He has to earn it, and these other guys, I'm sure, are going to want to earn it too. But my expectation is that we'll see Cam Cook and heck, I think we'll see Cam Cook, Boswell, and Latimer get carries in this offense. Maybe see a fourth guy to see who ends up, getting most of the snaps. But I think Cam Cook and Latimer will probably be the two guys you see getting the most carries. Sir Paul Cheeks is coming off an injury. Not sure how long it'll take him to recover. So he might be behind the eight ball a little bit compared to the rest of the guys. But I really like this talented running back room. They're young. Cam Cook, I think he has one more year left, maybe two of eligibility. So, you've got a veteran guy who's played college football now, 2 years at the Power 4 level, 3 years total at the FBS level. I just think it's a very, very good ad. I'm going to go ahead and pull up PFF grades here from Cam Cook because I had them pulled up earlier. As a matter of fact, I may still have them up. Let me look. That way I won't have to waste y'all's time. I do not have them up. So let me pull them up real quick. I think you're going to be impressed by his PFF grades. I like to look at stats, and neither stats nor PFF grades tell you the whole story, but they both tell a story, right? At least part of the story. Obviously, his statistics were out of this world. Almost 6 yards per carry, over 1,600 yards. His receiving yards, I think we mentioned his receiving as well. He graded out overall. His overall offensive grade was 85.8 on the season. His overall receiving grade was 59.1. That's not great, but it was, but he's proven he can catch the ball out of the backfield. So, don't let that scare you. His pass blocking grade. This is where I think he could be even a bigger pickup than what people realize. His pass blocking grade was a 76.2. Very, very good. It's very important that your running backs can pass block, and he can do it. I talked about how he's able to break tackles. He's a strong player. He's a strong young man. He can use that in a blocking game as well. His run grade, 89.3. No big surprise there. He runs the ball very, very well, very, very hard, and he's talented. And his run blocking grade is not great, but 59.8. You'd like to see that a little bit better, but he hasn't had to do that a ton. But nonetheless, just really, really good PFF grades. His time at TCU now in 2024, he carried the ball. Let me see. He carried the ball. I don't have his stats here. Let me pull his stats up from TCU. 2024 at TCU, he carried the ball 116 times for 454 yards, average 3.9 yards per carry, 9 touchdowns. His snaps kind of fell off towards the end of the year, or at least his production did, rather. He had several. Look, he had a game against Sam Houston where he rushed for 218 yards last year. This was in 2025 now. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games where he rushed over 100 yards, had 1 200-plus yard game. So just really, really good player we're getting in Cam Cook. But in 2024 at TCU, I mentioned his stats. He graded out at a 69.9 in the run game, so still not terrible. 64.9 total offensive grade. So, and again, 60. I was looking for pass blocking. I don't see any grades there for pass blocking, but nonetheless, grades out well. He graded, even though his stats weren't necessarily as good at TCU, and I don't know the reason for that. I don't know the inside knowledge of what TCU was dealing with offensively in other areas, but he did have decent PFF grades. And then in 2023, he only played 17 snaps for TCU, so very, very little production in 2023. He did play in several games in 2023, so he didn't redshirt, but he just didn't get a ton of carries. So he is in his 4th year. So it appears that this is his last year of eligibility, based on the fact that he played 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games in 2023. Played all the games in 24, and then all the games again in 2025. So what's that tell you? For the most part, he's been healthy, which is a good thing as well. He's durable. As they say in the NFL, the best ability is availability. That's what you've seen here with Cam Cook. So just can't say enough about how big this is for West Virginia to land him. Massive pickup for the Mountaineers. But we don't want to overshadow another player that West Virginia got today. Wide receiver, another position of need that got filled. DJ Epps. This one's not as, this one doesn't move the needle as much to the fans because he's not from, he didn't lead the country in anything, but he did finish top 10 in the country in the category, which I'll talk about in a second. But you still got a really good athlete. You've got Troy receiver DJ Epps, a junior with 2 years of eligibility. I think he has 2 years. Might just be one. I can't keep track of these eligibilities anymore. It's really hard with these new rules and everything. Anyway, he's 6'1", 185 pounds, 47 catches, 512 yards, 5 touchdowns last year for Troy. But here's what I like. Here's what I like even, or just as much, I shouldn't say more, but just as much about DJ Epps. He's also filling a need in the return game because let's remember, Preston Fox graduated. Rodney Gallagher hit the portal. You're bringing in DJ Epps, who has experience returning kickoffs. Now, I'm not sure he hasn't returned a ton of punts in his career, but he has returned a lot of kickoffs. And in last year, he returned 24 kickoffs for over 550 yards. And he was, as far as average yards per return, he was 6th in the country in that category. So top 10 in the country in yards per return on kickoffs. So he's not only helping you fill a need in receiver, where, again, you've lost a ton of guys like Cam Vaughn, Jeff Weimer to graduation, Rodney Gallagher to the portal, Preston Fox to graduation. You've lost a ton of guys from that spot. He's going to come in and help you fill a need, has an opportunity, in my opinion, to play right away. You add him to the JUCO guys like Keon Hutchins, Kedrick Triplett, to the transfer Prince. I want to get his name right. Prince. Let's just call him Prince. The former Boise State and USC player. You got him. He's 6'5", gives you a red zone target. They're getting different types of bodies to fill different needs, and you're also getting a guy in DJ Epps who can either play the slot or play out wide. So, again, versatility, talent, speed, athleticism. This is almost everybody Rich Rod brings in is bigger, faster than the guys they had a year ago. And let's face it, so far out of the 8 transfers they've hauled in so far, I think, if my count's accurate, 6 of them at least have experience at the Power 4 level. They may not be coming directly from a Power 4 school in all cases, but but 2 of them so far have at least played at the Power 4 level. Now let's address the biggest thing, and that is the offensive line. I understand that the offensive line is an issue, but they're trying to fix it. There are some secret visitors, to my understanding, that have either been on campus or are coming to campus that I think West Virginia may have a really good chance of getting. Heck, by the time you see this, they might have already committed. But there are some good offensive linemen that they're looking at. We've heard about the kid from Wyoming who they're trying to get on campus. May have already been there. I don't know. The kid hasn't allowed hasn't allowed a sack in like 3 seasons at Wyoming. So, they are looking at very, very good offensive linemen. I have no doubt they're going to fill needs. And offensive line recruiting is a little different than these skill guys. When you're looking at interior linemen, they normally don't require as much money, so they're not necessarily chasing a bag in a lot of cases. They're looking more for a fit. They're looking more for, who can develop them. They might be looking at the, weight training, strength program, those types of things. Offensive linemen may be more so to look at those types of things outside of just chasing a bag in all cases. Now, your elite guys are going to get paid. Don't get me wrong. But it's just different. It's just different. And coach, too, makes a difference. And let's not forget Rick Rickett's coming back to Morgantown. That alone is going to make our offensive line better, in my opinion, because he's going to develop the guys better than the previous coach. I just think his track record speaks for itself. So Rick Trickett coming back, they do have some really good linemen that they're looking at. So I have no doubt they will land some talent there. Nick Cray, at least as far as I know, is going to be coming back. And the guys do still have up until the 16th of January to enter the portal. But as of right now, Nick Cray and Landon Livingston will both be back. Josh Isosa looks like he'll be back. They brought in Kevin Brown. So I do like the pieces they're adding. Now, a little bit of bad news. Ben Bogle, the linebacker, who we thought might have an opportunity to be a starter next year, the middle linebacker, just transferred into the program this year. He announced today he's entering the transfer portal. Don't understand why. I'm sure we won't ever know the true reason. Not sure if he's being nudged out. Not sure if he doesn't like is West Virginia bringing in some really high-level talent at the linebacker spot and he doesn't think he'll get to play. We don't know. I do know that Zach Alley is following some really highly talented linebackers on social media. Not sure what that means. May not mean anything. But there are 2 former Big Ten linebackers in the transfer portal who put up great numbers that are being followed on social media by Zach Alley. So we'll see if they are in the running for West Virginia's in the running for those guys. But I do want to mention, when you look at most of the players, if not all the players that West Virginia bringing in, had other Power 4 schools after them. For example, Cam Cook. He was scheduled to go on a visit to Tennessee. I don't know if he ever went to that visit. It's my understanding he went ahead and canceled that visit based on what I read earlier. He canceled that visit, committed to West Virginia. The DJ Epps, he had visited Cincinnati. He chose West Virginia over the Bearcats. So West Virginia is winning recruiting battles in the portal over other Power 4 schools, some of them at their level, some of them considered blue bloods. It's good to see that. West Virginia is able to step – when they have a player that they really, really want, they can pay them. I'm sure Cam Cook's getting paid a really, really large amount of money, as he probably should in today's market, the way the market is. But now West Virginia may not be able to pay as many guys large sums of money, but when they really, really need a guy like a Kevin Brown or a Matt Sigg or a, Cam Cook, probably a Michael Hawkins, they're going to step up and pay them. So I won't be shocked if we see some other big names committing to West Virginia here in the next little bit, next few days. Don't be surprised if you see some surprises. Prince Strawn, his last name's Strawn. He was a surprise. He was not even – I did not see him on any visitation list or anything. He was kind of out of the blue. Nobody saw that one coming. There may be some more of those in the next few days. As far as the running back room, will West Virginia take more running backs? I wouldn't be surprised if they take at least one more because you need a lot of bodies in that room. They did, they were looking at Evan Pryor, or at least we're trying to reach out to Evan Pryor. They were looking at, some other really good running backs. I doubt they'll bring in anybody with the pedigree of a Cam Cook, but they might still go out and try to get some guys maybe from lower levels who can come in and be part of the room and contribute, right, and help with depth. So we'll see. They have a lot of positions they need to fill. They still need more O linemen. They still need D linemen. Basically, every position on the defense still needs bodies. They probably need another tight end or two, and maybe even another wide receiver. So we'll see what they do, how many more running backs they bring in. It's looking more and more like West Virginia's going to have another rebuild year. With the 49 players they signed on signing day, so far they've added 8 transfers, but they've lost over 30, if not 40. So they're probably going to have to add about 20 more ballpark. So it'll be interesting in the coming days who comes to Morgantown. But so far, I think they've done a good job bringing in guys that fit needs and who are good football players, whether it be from lower levels or even other P4 schools. Let's go ahead and jump back into the chat room. I see WVU Fan 13 says, I got you, Matt. But there are 11 on offense and 11 on defense, 2 players from Penn State. Doesn't mean we are killing it. That's fair. That's fair. Amari Latimer is also the best running back West Virginia has got recruiting in a very, very long time. He was recruited by 41 other schools. That's what I say. West Virginia's picking their spots. They're finding these elite guys at positions of need, and we can get this guy, so let's go get him. But they can't do that at every position, right? They're having to do it at key spots. And at other spots, they're just going to have to develop guys, right? Or they might have weaknesses they have to coach around. I mean, that's just part of the game, man. West Virginia might have more money than they did a year ago, but they still don't have Texas Tech money. They likely still don't have BYU money. They don't have Ohio State money, Texas money. That they're not going to have that money. But if they can just compete, which it looks like they're trying to do, I think they'll be okay. Bringing in Rick Trickett is going to be a big deal. And look, I've said it multiple times. We've got to be careful where we set our expectations. When you have 49 brand new players coming in from the JUCO and high school ranks on a 105-man or thereabouts roster, that's, what's that, 40%, 45% of your roster ballpark is going to be made up of brand new guys who have not even played at the P4 level before, or at the FBS level for that matter. Then you have all these new transfers that are going to be coming in as well. You're probably going to have 60, 70, might even get to 80 again. We might see 80 new players again, y'all. Don't be shocked if you see 80 new players in Morgantown for a second year in a row. I don't think it'll get that high, but I think we'll hit 70. I think we'll at least hit 70. I mean, sit and do the math. Do the math. You had about 40 transfer out and about 40 graduate. Is that not 80? Now, you won't be bringing in quite as many because the roster's shrinking. So that's why I'm saying you might still see 70, 75 guys that are brand new. It's hard to win in college football when you have that many new players that are brand new to your system, to your team, and about half of them to that level of football. It's going to take time. So don't expect West Virginia to go out and compete for a Big 12 championship in year 2 of the Rich Rod 2.0 era. It's likely not going to happen. Not saying it's impossible, but it's not likely. It's just not everybody's Kurt Cignetti. And let's face it, Indiana has a ton of money too. Don't kid yourself. Indiana has the largest alumni base in the country and a lot of wealthy donors. They have money. They're paying Kurt Cignetti about $11 million a year. So they have money. Now he's not bringing in a ton of highly rated guys, but he's just picking the right guys. And that's what's going to be key for West Virginia. Can they get the right guys? But again, back to my rant. Do not expect them to set the world on fire with 70 new players. It's just not realistic. If we can get a 6-7 win year in year 2, keep most of the guys that they are getting this year, keep the majority of them in the fold, and build the program that way, then in 2027, I think they can compete for a Big 12 championship. That's how confident I am in some of the guys they're bringing in. But it's going to take them a year to get there. And he's not bringing in a ton of seniors either. Most of the players he's bringing in have at least 2 years of eligibility. Most of them have 3 or 4. So Rich Rod's building this thing. This is a long-term play for Coach Rodriguez. Yes, he wants to win now. Every coach wants to win now. But he's looking at the long-term of this thing. This is not a win overnight deal. This is a win. He's building a program, not a team. And we have to realize that, y'all. I know it sucks, and we might go through another year of challenges, but and might not meet expectations again. And when I say expectations that we have as Mountaineer fans in general, it might not be an 8-9 win year. It might be a 6 or 7 win year. But be patient. He's building it. Now, if we see this many guys leaving the program again, I'll be worried. And I'll be honest with you. We have lost more guys than I thought we would. I didn't see Hammond Russell leaving. I didn't see Asani Redwood leaving. I didn't see Ben Bogle leaving. And I know these guys are not all-American players. I get that. But it's continuity. It's chemistry. It's guys who know how to speak the coach's language. It's guys who can be leaders out there and show the other guys what to do. It's about more than just talent. And don't be surprised if we lose more guys. I'll just be honest with you. There's going to probably be some more guys into the transfer portal. Probably some guys we didn't expect. And it's going to suck when it happens. And is it something I think deserves some criticism? But yeah, I think it's fair to criticize that. When you lose guys that you needed to count on to be leaders, and because I don't think all these guys were nudged out. I think some of them were, but not most of these guys that are entering now. This is just me reading the tea leaves and making an assumption and speculating. But I don't think these guys that are leaving now are being nudged out. I think they're choosing to leave. Now, early in the process, the guys who left really, really early, the first ones to announce, most of those guys I think were nudged out. But I just don't – maybe I'm completely wrong, but I don't think Asani Redwood and Ben Bogle and Hammond Russell were nudged out. Now, again, I could be totally wrong, but and if I am, and look, I will trade if they bring in some studs, some 4- and 5-star caliber guys to replace these guys, then it's absolutely worth it in my opinion. But if they don't, we'll have to wait and see. All right, let me just get back to the chat here. We have looks like you all are very active. I appreciate it. Lifted Diesel says, when do you think West Virginia puts a WVU tax on paychecks to help WVU football compete? LOL. I actually think I saw this at Hawaii. Yeah, I probably won't see that. It wouldn't surprise me. There are some things. I actually may have a show to do on this later, but there are some things that the West Virginia legislature are looking at that will help WVU that I actually found today I was actually doing research for my day job, some stuff for my day job, and ran across it. So, but I hope to do a show on it. But I don't think it'll come to that necessarily. It's a Diesel also says, is it really year 2 or year 1 technically since we missed the first portal window? I don't know, man. There are other coaches who got hired about the same time Rich Rodriguez did, and they had at least as good, if not better, seasons than him, right? So I don't necessarily totally buy into the year 0 thing, but I also don't believe in firing a coach after 1 year either, if that makes sense. Again, what Cignetti did is an anomaly, not going to happen typically. But, I mean, Scott Frost was 1 game away from being bowl eligible at UCF, and you saw what they did to West Virginia. They got hired about the same time, or at least a few days apart. So why did UCF have the upper hand on West Virginia? That's a fair question to ask. Or did they? And there are other, obviously we see what's going on UNC. They're in a similar situation as West Virginia. But when you see the number of players, it is a little concerning to me when I see the number of players that are leaving the program are near the top of the country, and most of the other schools around West Virginia are schools who are replacing their coach, like Iowa State, Oklahoma State, and people like that. West Virginia's at or above some of those schools as far as the number of players are losing, and I just don't know that is a good thing. I don't think it. I know what people say. Well, Couz, it was a 4-8 team. Yeah, but look at Jaheim White, Cam Vaughn, Hammond Russell. One or two that I think may enter the portal later that I can't really say right now because it's not my place to do so. You're going. I'm telling you, you're going to. Even Israel Boyce. Now, Israel Boyce and Asani Redwood both ended up at USF, by the way. I don't know how many of you knew that. But I think those guys could have been, at least could have helped be leaders in their respective position rooms. But, again, maybe they were nudged out or just knew they wouldn't get much playing time. I don't know. But I think it's fair to be concerned about the number of players West Virginia's losing. WV Fan 13 says, so this is my discussion question. Do we stay in the Big 12 and be middle of the pack team or go elsewhere? Where else are you going to go is the problem unless you go down to the group of 5 level. And it's going to – I think we're getting to a point where the group of 5 is going to end up getting left behind completely anyway. So where do we want to be? Now, there is an argument out there that West Virginia would have been better off had they not joined the Power Conference back when the Big East crumbled and they had went to the American, and West Virginia could have dominated that league potentially and actually be in a better spot today. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. But who knew in 2011 when all that went down that we were going to be where we are today in college sports? I doubt any of them did sitting around that table. I doubt they knew that we were going to have chaotic transfer, guys transferring, playing 5 schools in 5 years, transferring out after every season. Guys actually missing college football playoff games so they can transfer. I mean, it's a mess. I don't think they saw that coming, But it is a fair question to ask. Would West Virginia have been better off staying as a G5 program? I don't know. What did Raven say? I'm going to go back up here to what Raven said. Is Jaden Bray coming back? Yes, so far, Jaden Bray, and I forgot to even mention him earlier. Man, if that kid can stay healthy, young man, I should say, if that young man can stay healthy, he is so freaking good. We've seen flashes of what he can be. If he can stay healthy, he can be our wide receiver 1 next year and be a really, really good football player and huge contributor to the offense. So let's hope Jaden Bray can stay healthy. Curtis D316 says Malachi Hood pushed Bogle out. Maybe. And again, I'm not saying I don't think Ben Bogle is necessarily going to be an All-American, guys. It's just the fact of continuity, chemistry, all those things matter. More so than I think a lot of fans want to realize. But if you can bring a guy in who's a 4 or 5-star talent, maybe that's a little more important. I don't know. Browns and Beers says season's a season. He brought in a lot of guys and then got rid of them during the spring portal and is getting rid of a lot of them now. I get that you had to evaluate somewhat quick, but still, yeah. Again, it's getting to the point now, and I try really hard to be positive, and I even get on other people on social media for being overly negative. But I also try to be realistic. And there are other schools in the country in similar situations as West Virginia that aren't losing this many players. Let's just face it. Why is it happening? We have to ask that question. It's fair to ask it. And we probably will never find out the answer, to be perfectly honest with you, because they're not going to tell us. Because if it's something negative, they don't want that out there, right? It's either they've misevaluated guys or players don't like playing there. It's one of those two things. It's either they've misevaluated some guys or the guys or players don't like playing at West Virginia. Now, you're always going to have some people leave, but, I mean, even going back to really ever since NIL and not NIL, but ever since the transfer portal became a thing, West Virginia's been losing more players probably at a higher rate than any other Power 4 team in the country, just consistently. Matter of fact, that might have to be a good show topic for me. I may go back and research that. It's hard to find that information sometimes. I don't know how many of you folks look and try to track transfers over time. It is really, really difficult to do. And you can't really find a site that has put it all together in a spreadsheet or anything for you. So it's a really, really hard research to do, and it takes a ton of time. Stanley Metz says, I'm not concerned about the high number of players leaving yet. If it continues after next season, then yes, I'll be concerned. And that's kind of where I'm at, Stanley. Right now, I'm moderately concerned, but I'll be highly concerned if it happens again with these guys we're bringing in now, that, especially the real talented ones who are underclassmen. That's who we got to keep, because that means in 1, 2, 3 years, if you can keep most of your players that come in this year who are underclassmen, in the next 2 to 3 years, you could be one of the best teams in the Big 12, because they will all have developed under that coaching staff in that system. I've built chemistry. I've built a culture. Everything will be moving in the right direction. That's what we have to hope for. Yep, we got to hope so, Raven. Right now, there's about 5,000 players or 4,000 players or something like that I heard in the portal. It's insane. You know, a guy like Ben Bogle, where's he going to go? Is he going to go down to a lower-level school? I mean, I don't think Ben Bogle's chasing a bag. No disrespect to him, but I don't think he's good enough to chase a bag. You know? But anyway. All right. Well, listen, I'm going to jump off of here. It's getting late. It's almost 10 o'clock on the East Coast. Thank you all for jumping in this post-game live show where we talked about West Virginia's win, 62-60 win over Cincinnati in college hoops. Yes, it was an ugly win, but it was a win in Big 12 conference play, and we'll take it. And then we've talked a little bit about West Virginia's transfer portal additions, Cam Cook and DJ Epps, and then talked about, the ins and outs of the transfer portal. So anyway, thanks you all for jumping in. I appreciate it. Sorry I wasn't able to get to every comment, but there's just too many of them for me to get to all of them and still get through my monologue and what I want to talk about. So anyway, thank you all for joining. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, do all those things. Check us out at wvsportschat.com. If you're on Facebook, please go to our Facebook page and follow us there as well. We're trying to build up all these sites My partner Jonathan helping me out over at the site and over at the Facebook page, and even here some, as you all know, may not be a Golden Blue Breakdown show this week. Not sure yet, but hopefully we'll get back to doing that very soon. Appreciate everybody tuning into the show. God bless you. Q Country Roads.